What's up, Fragrant World? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland, and on this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we're talking about everything fragrance related. Any interest in that kind of content, then you have made it to your choice destination. Please consider subscribing. Join the Fresh Squad today. Enhance, improve, elevate your freshness. Simple as a click. You'll feel it, others will smell it. And speaking of staying fresh, we are talking about a very fresh and uplifting fragrance today. Something that honestly kind of surprised me a bit. This is coming from the house of Michael Malul London. I'll link a playlist up here. I've talked about a number of their fragrances already. This is called Visionaire, one of their popular scents. This has been around for a few years maybe. And this fragrance is very much inspired by another fragrance from Creed called Green Irish Tweed. I have a little vintage bottle here. Fragrance that I've enjoyed for a long time. And I actually have a number of fragrances in my collection that are inspired by Creed Green Irish Tweed. So I got them sprayed side by side. We got Visionaire, we have Green Irish Tweed. Wow, okay, so if you're not familiar with this scent DNA, imagine being out in a countryside. The sun is just rising, it's still chilly out. There's a nice wet dew on the grass. The grass is very verdant, very green, very aromatic, especially with that moisture in the air. There's a little bit of an airy quality to it, kind of this airy muskiness in there, a slight powdery nature from some iris. It's quite green, it's smooth, it's very fresh, almost leaning soapy. I do have to say that all the fragrances that I have that are inspired by Green Irish Tweed don't exactly come close to it, which is totally fine. It is a special scent, and there are some fragrance houses that are definitely inspired by it but are not trying to copy it one for one here. And one thing I like about Visionaire is that it takes that DNA. It is very green, it's very fresh, almost soapy, but there's a sweetness in here. There's a touch of a sweetness in the original, but there's a sweetness in here that's a little bit more amplified. Nothing that comes off gourmand leaning or overly vanilla or anything like that. But that sweetness kind of like encompasses the entire composition, kind of like blends it all together. So you don't really detect all the elements in the same exact manner as you do in Green Irish Tweed. Makes it a little bit more amorphous, and I know that doesn't sound great, but that's the best way I can explain it. Everything kind of mashes together in one big mixture, a big soup, but it actually comes off as a very great blend. And I think the added sweetness here actually makes Visionaire a little bit more playful, a little bit more youthful, and maybe more mass appealing, something that is going to appeal to perhaps a younger audience. Whereas Green Irish Tweed, this fragrance came out in 1985. While it doesn't smell dated to me, it doesn't smell like the 80s because nothing was really smelling exactly like this during that time. It does have this kind of mature flair to it, something that an older gentleman or older person in general, someone in their mid 30s and up might wear. Whereas Visionaire, I could easily see people in college pulling this off, but the young business professional could easily wear something like this as well. Now, they only grabbed some of the key notes in Green Irish Tweed to craft Visionaire, like that iris, again bringing that powdery nature, like that lemon verbena, bringing that nice bright greenness, a little bit of that violet, which I think might be the source of the sweetness. Violet is kind of a sweeter floral, and I think there just simply might be more of it in here, bringing that fresh sweetness. And it still dries down to some sandalwood and ambergris. May or may not be real ambergris, to be honest, just because of the price of this stuff. If they're using the real thing, I think this would be a lot more expensive than it is. But nonetheless, a nice, smooth, slightly salty, musky, woody presence in the background. Again, a touch of a creaminess in there from the sandalwood, and really just fills out the scent and gives that dry down some beautiful legs. That sounds weird, but I think you know what I mean. Has a nice robust base to it, but without being too much. Now, it was not Visionaire's closeness to Green Irish Tweed that surprised me the most. What surprised me the most about Visionaire was its performance. I did not expect this to last as well as it did on my skin. I'm pretty sure this is an eau de parfum. Yes, it is an eau de parfum. It's actually 28% concentrated, which is pretty dang high for an eau de parfum. And it behaves like that, even though it's still very, very fresh, very uplifting, quite bright, and again, quite invigorating. It does have a beefiness to it. It clings onto your skin. It's gonna hang around. I was getting easily 7+ hours out of this. It was basically staying fresh the whole time, and I was essentially smelling it around me the whole time. I actually wore this 2 days ago. I was outdoors for a few hours. It was pretty warm out. I was smelling it around me the whole time. And again, we were out in the sun, we were sweating. By the time I got back home, I was still smelling it. And by that point I had to shower, so I washed it off. But it was still present, and it was still smelling very much like itself. Still very pleasant. I can easily recommend this as an alternative to Green Irish Tweed, one that still has very good quality, but one that is probably gonna appeal to more people, and one that also has more than decent performance. Now this is a 3.4 ounce bottle, 100 milliliters, which goes on their website for $79.95, $80 basically. Cool thing is that they do have a 10 milliliter travel atomizer, which is I think maybe under $30, and we have a discount.
The deal gets sweeter.
Stay Fresh 20, use that code at checkout. You're gonna save 20% off of your entire order. So if you decide to put a few more things in your cart, you're gonna get discount on all of that. Or if you just decide to go on a full bottle of this, or even the travel atomizer, again, you're gonna save a little bit of cash. If you like Green Irish Tweed, I think you're really gonna like this one. If you weren't crazy about Green Irish Tweed, I would consider giving this a shot if Green Irish Tweed came off a little bit matured for you. Again, this is gonna definitely have more of a youthful, more accessible vibe to it, and something that's just really enjoyable to wear, and it's probably gonna get you compliments because it's so fresh and it does have some potency, so people will smell it. So that's basically everything I have to say about Visionaire. Something you can wear pretty much all year round to almost any occasion. Very versatile scent. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think down in the comments. Would love to know your opinions. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.